In the first series of the Omega Pro Show, I'm going to be taking a look at the three major powerhouses for platforming and adventure for the PS2. Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, and Sly Cooper. Now, just to be fair, I'm only going to be taking a look at the first three games in the series and then comparing them all at the end. So, I guess let's start off with Sly Cooper, shall we?
In Sly Cooper, you play as a raccoon, and your two best friends are a hippo and a turtle. This game should be lighthearted and fun, right? Ha! No. The game starts off with Sly Cooper narrating his life. He comes from a lineage of thieves who made a book called the Thievius Raccoonus, which holds a bunch of information on how to be a snake. Well, apparently 5 douche nozzles, aka the Fiendish 5, decided that they wanted this Thievius Raccoonus. So, how do they get it, you may ask? Well, similar to how anyone else would. They kill Sly Cooper's family, thus making Sly Cooper grow up in an orphanage.
The fuck? That's like having Bowser just completely slaughter Luigi, Yoshi, Toad, and everyone else Mario's ever cared about and then stealing Peach. Seriously, at that point would Mario even want to stomp on turtles and eat shrooms and shit? Well, maybe eat shrooms, but seriously, Mario would have lost all hope in life.
In this orphanage, Sly meets his two best friends, Murray, a big ferocious hippo, and Bentley, a tech-smart turtle. Together, they spent their days stealing shit as a crew, and now want to achieve the stolen pages of the Thievius Raccoonus that the Fiendish 5 snatched in order to avenge Sly's parents. This is some Batman shit. And I'm gonna reiterate here, this is an E rating. So before I get into each level in depth, I want to give you guys a quick rundown on the gameplay. For the most part, you're going to be doing some platforming without trying to get noticed by guards or various lasers and spotlights. If you get noticed by guards, they will attack you. Now, there is a specific type of guard with a flashlight. Those are the motherfuckers you don't want to get spotted by because they have attacks that almost never fail to hit you. The first time you get noticed by lasers or spotlights, an annoying ass alarm goes off and the spotlights and lasers turn red. The next time means you die. Other than that, you'll get into minor combat sequences wherein the enemies have a very predictable attack pattern, so you counter that and smack them with your cane. Also, don't get hit because you die in one shot. Now, there is this horseshoe that you can obtain, and for each one you have, you can take one more additional hit. However, those are few and far between. Luckily, if you start sucking and dying a whole lot, the game will give you one, so, you can stop being an awful piece of shit. Alright, now let's start this joint. The first of the Fiendish 5 you go after is Sir Raleigh. He was born into a noble lifestyle but quickly became bored of it and decided to delve into piracy. Turns out this little frog loves him some piracy, so he became addicted to the life of crime. In this level, you'll be doing your sneaking through the Welsh Triangle, which Raleigh himself ruined with his storm machine. So when Sly and the gang arrive at the Welsh Triangle, Bentley informs you that in order to reach the blimp where Sir Raleigh is, you need to go through a tube that has an electrical current running through it. And in order to go through that, you need to collect 3 treasure keys to open up and destroy the power generator. The first section of this first level contains 3 sub-levels you need to go through in order to obtain the keys. Let's start with Into the Machine. This level is pretty easy with some basic platforming and stealth. You spend the sub-level jumping on machinery, dodging enemies, climbing ropes, and closing furnaces and all that other good shit. You use the power you get from the very beginning of the game where you hug the tight ends of an edge and maneuver around obstacles holding the circle button. You also have the option to collect bottles so you can open up vaults that contain various things within them. I never did this because I just fucking hate going for non-essential collectibles. This is the standard for every level in the game. The second part of the level gets a little more difficult because there are these spinning blades you have to go through that differ in the spacing between the blades, so it requires a little bit more thought than the rest of the level. After that, the level is pretty easy. You do a few jumps, close a few furnaces, and bam, you get your first treasure key.
Wow, That was actually really fun. I can't believe how much I really actually enjoyed the combination between stealth and platforming. It really adds something to the game, especially since you can die in one hit. It balances well, and it actually requires some thought, and it is actually pretty fun while you're playing as well. No wonder people love this game. It's so incredibly different from Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. It really is a unique game. Let's keep going.
The next level is High Class Heist, and it's pretty much the same concept except with more lasers and spotlights. And then there's the last level, the Fire Down Below. This one is a bit more challenging and introduces a new gameplay element. You have to run on a roly thingy whatchamadoes, and that triggers something in the level that allows you to progress forward. A tip for you, run forward. I embarrassingly spent a lot of time running backwards because I'm a dumb asshole. After that, you do a few jumps on some fixtures from the ceiling, and then you close a few furnaces, and you're on your way to the second half of the level. You have to deal with another roly thingy whatchamadoes. This one is a little more difficult because there's a spotlight hanging right over it. But after just a little bit, a black ball thing, I don't even know what the fuck it is, busts through the wall and you can progress forward and get your key.
Sweet! I beat all 3 levels. Can't wait to see what's next. Maybe we fight a boss or something? Oh man, can't wait.
You're really scaring me, man. Anyway, to get inside that thing, you had to steal all 7 of Raleigh's treasure keys.
Are you serious? I hate when games do this. Why give me the false sense of progression? Just make me get the 7 treasure keys from the get-go, and maybe I wouldn't have this crushed heart, you know?
The first level I played in this next subsection was, unfortunately, Treasure in the Depths. And I say unfortunately because this is where Sly Cooper falls apart. The minigames. In the Treasure in the Depths level, you operate a submarine with the left stick and use the right stick to shoot. Your objective is to shoot treasure chests when they fall to the sea floor. Oh, by the way, you must do this while crabs are trying to steal the treasure. Now, I've got a few issues with this minigame. 1. Why? There is literally no point to this minigame besides the fact that you have to get this key. Now, you can notice that the key is on a rock underwater and Sly is in a submarine. Why the fuck can't he just ride the submarine to the key and take it up with him? Why the fuck do I have to destroy the treasure chests? It is there only to add a minigame to try and break up the monotony, which wouldn't be bad if the minigame was actually fun. Second, the submarine controls like shit. It's slippery and the controls are not tight whatsoever. Third, the crabs get more abundant and quicker as time goes by, making it extremely frustrating when you almost get 40 and one little crab just fucks shit up. Now the crabs die in one shot. However, they move backwards with the chest in front of them, so if you're on the other end of the circular map, they have the chest for protection and the chests take multiple shots to break. This is just bad game design in my opinion, and this minigame is just all types of fucking awful. The next level is the Gunboat Graveyard, and thank goodness it is not a fucking minigame. This level was pretty enjoyable, I gotta say. I liked climbing on the high ropes and jumping on various objects while dodging the spotlights. This level shows more of the platforming than the other levels that were pretty easy and straightforward. This is the first sub-level that makes you just think a little bit and is actually quite enjoyable. You'll be encountering more guards than you faced before and just overall provides a bit more challenge than the other levels, and after you do these things, you're gonna get a key. Now we arrive at a cunning disguise. This level introduces a new gameplay element, a barrel. What happens is that you can jump in these barrels and move right through lasers, and this is just so damn useful. You can also stay in your position and you won't be detected by spotlights and guards. Sounds familiar, eh? Anyways, that's this level's significance. A new gameplay element, and also you get another key because that was just unexpected. After this, you use all the keys you've accumulated, unlock the cannon, and get shot straight into Sir Raleigh's blimp to exact some sweet, sweet revenge. The confrontation between Sly and Raleigh was pretty cool. Raleigh plays the douche card, even apologizing that he didn't kill Sly along with his family. Sly responds with "fight me IRL," and then Raleigh eats a bee, gets bloated as dump, and then the boss fight begins. This fight is so easy once you figure out what to do. You basically have to dance around one of the floating platforms and wait for Raleigh to get smaller and then smack him with your cane. As the fight progresses, some platforms will become disabled, which in actuality adds no real challenge at all. After the build-up and the confrontation, I was expecting an awesome fight, but this one just sort of fell through the cracks a little bit. It certainly is not bad by any means, but definitely not as good as it could have been. I feel like since they made Sly die in one hit, it really limited the boss battles, which is unfortunate because I actually like the one-hit system. It just doesn't lend itself too well to boss battles. After you defeat Raleigh, you two part words, Sly takes a few pages of the Thievius Raccoonus, and Carmelita arrests Raleigh, and Sly and the gang are off to get the next of the Fiendish Five. Next up on Sly's hit list is Mugshot. Mugshot was born a runt and spent his early life being the weakling and always getting picked on. His only companion was the big screen, and he loved those mobster movies, and he began to admire the buff criminals. When Mugshot saw his first gangster, he instantly knew that's what he wanted to be. He began working out until he became essentially the Terminator of dogs. So Sly, Murray, and Bentley are on the road to Murica until they arrive in Mesa City. Just like in the first level, you need to accumulate treasure keys to progress forward, and that is actually kind of annoying.
Why is everything in this game locked with just those traditional locks? I think it's really stupid. Just have me do these tasks that I need to do in order to progress forward instead of having to collect these keys and then unlock some machinery or something. Come on, man. A little more originality.
In order to speed up this review a little bit, I won't be going over each level just because they're generally the same, but not in a bad way. A few levels will add a new gameplay element, but for the most part you just have to sneak, jump, and get keys. I'll only be going over the levels that stand out. Murray's Big Gamble. In this level, you need to guide Murray through the level by shooting enemies that try to harm him. Simple enough, but I have one question. Murray is a huge brute hippo. What the fuck is stopping him from just absolutely destroying these enemies? Furthermore, if Murray can't sneak and beat up anyone, what the fuck is his use to the team? Wouldn't it make more sense for Sly to just sneak up to where he needs to get the key? Why do we need to protect Murray? This wouldn't even be an issue if the minigame was fun, but it just feels like a cheap chore used to try to break up the gameplay. Minigames are supposed to provide a fun little break from the main gameplay. They aren't supposed to drag your game down into the depths of hell. Let me get into specifics about what makes this minigame bad, besides the whole why the fuck am I even doing this? The turret controls are pretty bad. There's just no other way to put it. I mean, it's not like it's horrible, but it's not good. They're just bad, boring, and not fun. Oh, also the camera is so fucking zoomed in. It tries to just add challenge, but really that challenge is just artificial. Seriously, the zoom is so bad I became a little nauseous while playing this minigame. Not only is it really zoomed in, it likes to follow Murray and zoom in and out at random times, making me more nauseous. Not only that, but if you shoot Murray, who sometimes takes up a good bit of the screen, then you have to do the minigame all over. This is just really fucking annoying. This wouldn't be that much of a problem if there weren't other problems making this problem add to the general suckiness. Seriously, I think you have to try to make minigames this bad.
Fuck, that was unenjoyable. It's not that the minigame was bad from a technical standpoint. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's boring and it really adds zero element to the gameplay.
Next up is another minigame. At the dog track.
No more. I can't fucking take it. I can't fucking take another minigame. No, I can't do it. The dedication.
Turns out, this is the best minigame in the entire game. Doesn't make it any good, but it actually wasn't that bad. You have to race some of Mugshot's henchmen because Murray decided to be a fat hippo and grab some grub, and for whatever reason, the henchman was like, "Hey yo, hippo, you wanna race, man?" Anyway, you race a few laps while collecting turbo to get some boost, and then you win. It's kind of unfortunate that there isn't a lot to say about the best minigame in the entire game. I guess the simplicity made it to where they just couldn't possibly fuck up this minigame. I don't want you guys to feel like I'm bashing this game. The levels in between the minigames are really fucking enjoyable. There just isn't much to say about them. I will say though that I like the difference between Welsh Island and Mesa City. The enemies are basically reskinned doing the same attacks, but it feels different enough to ease my feeble mind. Also, the environment and music in Mesa City is pretty cool. I really like this level as a whole. The Murray's Big Gamble minigame was pretty damn bad, but it definitely wasn't enough to ruin the other levels. Finally, we get to the boss, the big bad Mugshot. Mugshot starts talking down to Sly because his boys have been saying that Sly is the shit, but Mugshot just sees him as a small little raccoon.
Hey Mugshot, does that sound fucking familiar? Isn't that how you spent your early life? Some people just never learn, do they?
Mugshot then proceeds to tell Sly that the Thievius Raccoonus had some nice pictures, and then they fight. Yeah. Now this boss fight was interesting and challenging as well. However, when you figure out Mugshot's patterns, it's relatively easy. You've got to smack some mirrors until they light up some little random shits in the middle of the level while Mugshot is shooting at you. After you hit all the mirrors, Mugshot goes up another level where the layout is a little bit more difficult to maneuver, and this brings a little bit more challenge to the fights. When you hit all the mirrors on this level, Mugshot goes up another level, and on here, is it even possible to lose? No, seriously, I want to know because I did this with absolutely zero error. Mugshot didn't even try to attack me once. I have no idea if this was a bug or if it's just really that easy. After you beat Mugshot, Sly takes the pages he had and leaves. Carmelita shows up and hopes to arrest Sly, but settles for Mugshot.
Sound familiar?
Now Sly has his eyes on Miss Ruby from the Fiendish Five. Ruby's family was all mystical and shit, thus she had strange powers. Eventually she learned to summon the undead to give herself some friends since no one wanted to be friends with an alligator that had strange powers. Yeah. After years of being bitter, Ruby began to commit crimes to get back at the world for fearing her. Yeah, seems about right. If people fear you, don't be nice to them, just commit some fucking crimes. The more you know. Now this level looks nice and has some decent music. However, this is the worst fucking level out of all levels in any fucking game ever. The last two levels were really enjoyable despite the lackluster minigames. This level is just bad. There is this sudden steep difficulty spike, and not the difficulty spike where you're like, oh game, you bested me this time, ha ha ha. This is the difficulty spike where you're like, oh game, you suck major fucking balls. Literally the only fucking positive I can think of is that there's this new enemy that resembles the mosquitoes from Rayman. Except in this game, they're difficult to hit, and since you die in one shot, you can expect to be killed by this fucker quite a bit. I think why this level sucks so much is that it tries to add new gameplay elements where you have to grind on these vines to get from place to place. However, in this game, there is something wrong with the input commands, and on occasion when I press X, Sly won't jump. Or when I press circle, Sly won't grind. To have entire fucking levels that require you to grind, having that grindability not work, even if it's not common, is bad game design. Imagine playing Mario, but Mario doesn't always jump. Sound fun? No, it fucking doesn't. Then this level adds to the fucking shitstorm with the new enemy. This enemy is a giant thing that upon getting hit breaks off into a smaller part of itself. Now this wouldn't be so bad, however the larger part and the smaller part of the enemy are nearly impossible to tell apart. So in a game where every enemy dies in one hit, including you, there's this one enemy that takes multiple hits. Why? This type of enemy doesn't even appear for the rest of the game. No other enemy other than bosses require more than one hit. Who the hell thought this was a good idea? It is awful game design. When you combine the already hard to kill mosquitoes with the multiple hit enemy and the shoddy grind mechanics, you've got yourself some really fucking frustrating levels ahead of you. Not only frustrating, but boring, bland, and uninteresting.
This level is just horrible for my blood pressure. If I don't calm down, I might pop a blood vessel.
In one of the levels, Lair of the Beast, there exists a game element that I hate to no end. When the camera shows you a frontal view of the character and you can't see what's ahead of you. In a platforming game, I truly do not understand why the fuck this is here. You have to jump and climb and do all that other Sly Cooper shit while not knowing what's in front of you. I didn't fail at this part, so I'm not bitching because it was hard. I'm bitching just because I don't like this game design. Luckily, this lasts for a very short period of time, so I won't hate the game for it. I just thought I'd bring it up. Now, what is one thing that can make this level any worse? What is the one thing that would absolutely throw me off of the edge while playing this level? Fucking minigames. In this minigame, Piranha Lake, Sly has to light tikis by running over piranhas to obtain oil. Wait, what was that? Run over piranhas to obtain... whatever. How bad can this be? Pretty fucking bad! The main thing that destroys this minigame is only being able to carry 5 piranha oil fluids at a time. This is really fucking annoying because the piranhas are so elusive. They will always be faster than you unless you cut them off at a turn. At some times it feels like the piranha spawn rate is incredibly low, which is obviously bad when you're being timed to light these tikis and there are only 3 piranhas in the fucking level. This wouldn't be too bad if you can control the fucking vehicle. Seriously, it's like they made it to where every fucking minigame just controls like absolute shit. The developers could not have possibly made this minigame and thought it was a good idea. I don't even know if this minigame is as truly bad as I'm making it seem, or if the shittiness of the entire level just drags it down. Either way, while I was playing this, I almost broke into a maniacal rage.
I swear, if there is another horrible fucking minigame, I'm gonna go on a homicidal rampage. I'm gonna fucking kill someone.
Enter Down Home Cooking.
No. 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 I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. Please. 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 No. Don't do this to me.
So in this minigame, Sly has to whack 50 chickens in an allotted time. Okay, not bad. Oh wait, a fucking plot twist! Turns out every so often, kamikaze roosters will come out and try to blow you up along with themselves. Just fucking great. Whacking the chickens is easy. What's hard is dodging the extremely fast roosters and what seems like their never-ending bomb fuses. Seriously, it feels like you're running away from kamikaze roosters the entire fucking time, and it is extremely annoying. I feel like a game like Sly Cooper needs minigames to break up the gameplay. However, these are not minigames, they're torture sequences. I can't seriously accept that there were game developers out there that thought this was fun. No, it can't be true. Fuck this fucking minigame. And I know I'm gonna get some Sly fans bitching about my opinion, but go ahead. This shit is just unacceptable to me. But the horribleness does not stop there. No, that'd be too for good. There is yet another minigame. Yes, another. This one is called A Ghastly Voyage. In this minigame, Sly has to ride a hover thingy that can shoot stuff. The goal is to shoot up gravestones that are birthing some ghost cats. This minigame is awful. Not only is the vehicle hard to control, but the bullets lose any worth when shooting from a distance. Why is this a problem? The gravestones have some shield thing that protects them, and you have to shoot them in order to get to the gravestone. Now, the most effective way to get rid of the shields are to get right up close to them and fire away. But remember, the gravestones are spawning ghost cats, so being close to the gravestones is dangerous living. This minigame would be so much better if the bullets weren't marshmallows from a distance. This minigame sucks and is truly annoying. Then there's the Miss Ruby boss battle. The last two boss battles were pretty good. Maybe this fight can be this level's saving grace. Spoiler, it fucking isn't! In the other boss fights, you have to learn the boss's patterns and plan your strategy around that. It was fun, and while not that challenging, it was still enjoyable to find out how to defeat the enemy and then executing it. In this boss battle, they threw that completely out of the window. Instead, you have to play some stupid ass gimmicky fight. I would expect this from a minigame, but in a boss battle, come on. To defeat Miss Ruby, you essentially have to play Dance Dance Revolution, except it doesn't work quite as well. The game doesn't tell you when you need to press the buttons, you just have to sort of guess. It isn't too bad because if you go with the beat of the music, then you'll be fine. However, this is not how I want a boss battle to go. What really pisses me off the most though, is that this is the only boss in the fucking game that has this style. Every other boss has you learning the patterns and defeating the boss with the knowledge you learned. This is easily the worst boss battle I've ever played. It has absolutely nothing to do with how the game previously set itself up. It is a complete 180, which again wouldn't be that bad if the entire game followed this route, but it doesn't.
I don't know how I'm alive. What? Who am I? What's this camera doing here?
In typical Sly Cooper fashion, after defeating Miss Ruby, Sly takes the pages and Carmelita arrests Ruby. Rinse and repeat, folks. Now Sly has his crosshairs on Kung Fu Panda. Oh, my bad. I meant Panda King. He was born and raised on the poverty-stricken streets of China and was fascinated by the fireworks that rich noblemen set off every New Year. Naturally, the Panda King spent 10 whole years learning this art of fireworks. Yeah, don't work on not being homeless or nothing. Fireworks more important. Anyway, he offered his fireworks that he spent 10 years to make to the nobleman, but the nobleman couldn't look past his trashy clothes and chased him away. Shoulda got groomed before you spent 10 years making fireworks, eh? Panda King got pissed and he used his explosive knowledge for crime. Before I talk about anything bad in this level, I just want to say that this is really a great level. Nice music, great design, great environment, and most importantly, it's fun for the most part. See, levels 1 and 2 were great, and this level follows suit. Now, what happened to level 3? Well, we don't talk about what happened to level 3. Anyway, maybe it's the fact that I love any Asian culture, but this level is really my favorite level. Mesa City is a pretty close second. Unfortunately, there isn't too much to say about this level because it is essentially the same thing we've seen before. That's not a bad thing. The level is still very fun.
But of course, this level couldn't be also great. And do you want to know why?
Fucking minigames. I bet you guessed that though. Anyway, you remember that minigame from level 3, A Ghastly Voyage? Yeah, it makes a return in this level. In my honest opinion, it isn't as bad as the one in level 3, but the premise is still there, and the premise is fucking stupid! Since this is almost the same exact thing as A Ghastly Voyage, I'm not gonna say too much. Luckily, the best minigame returns, albeit the best among the worst is still pretty bad, right? Anyway, A Desperate Race brings back Murray's racing minigame, and it is essentially the same thing as the last one. Not mind-blowing, but in comparison to every other minigame, this is like unicorn blood.
Hey, what is this? Monotony the game?
Next minigame is the King of the Hill, which Hip Hip motherfucking Ray is another turret segment. Just boring and the exact same as the other one. Yes, about it. Now, I really want to stress that I really enjoyed this level. I know it seems like I'm just bashing it, but trust me, I had a blast playing this. The point of this little segment was to show you that at this point in the game, things were getting pretty monotonous. Still fun, but monotonous nonetheless. Finally, the boss fight. Kung Fu Panda gon' get this Kung Fu dick! This boss is so easy, I could barely believe it. Seriously, you walk up to him, hit him a few times, and dodge his attacks, and you're fine. One of my favorite levels has an extremely easy boss. The biggest positive for this boss fight is that it wasn't anything like Ms. Ruby. It was so easy, I got a little curious, so I did some research. Turns out that the Panda King level was originally supposed to be the first level in the game. That actually explains a lot.
I enjoyed that level for the most part. Sure, the boss felt a little uninspired, but overall, the level was actually pretty damn fun. The gameplay did show some of its staleness, and it was getting kind of repetitive, but if the rest of the game can follow suit with what this level shows up, then it's going to be a pretty good game, I think.
Here it is, the showdown. It is time to take out Clockwork, the leader of the Fiendish Five. He was filled with so much jealousy for the Cooper clan's thieving reputation. His hatred burned so much that he replaced his body with soulless machinery. That's one dedicated ass owl. Let's exact some revenge, motherfucker! This level starts out with a shooting segment similar to the turret minigame. This is even worse than the turret minigame because you're on the car while it's moving. Plus you have to shoot at these nose-diving birds that have the worst kind of fucking hitbox. It is so hard to hit these little fuckers and it's annoying. All you need to know about this level is that it's just an awful stage. Fuck this stage. You remember that minigame with the crabs and the treasure chest? Yeah, let's take that minigame and make it worse. In this little segment, you have to collect 60 computers while fire slugs are after them as well. There are only 119 computers, so you and the slugs are racing to hit that mark. This minigame infuriated me in the beginning. There would be about 5 slugs to only 1 me, and they would collect the computers so fucking fast. However, I learned that if you spend your time killing the slugs, then it makes this minigame significantly easier, so I guess all things considered, it isn't too bad. In this next section, Sly finds out that Carmelita has been captured by Clockwork, and despite Murray and Bentley saying fuck that hoe, Sly goes out of his way and tries to save her. I wish this whole last level would have had this going on instead of the flurry of minigames. You have to use the barrel technique from earlier in the game to get to Carmelita, only to realize that it was a trap and now Bentley has to save the day. Turns out, having Bentley save the day is one of the worst things that can ever happen. Bentley has to hack Clockwork's computer to slave Sly and Carmelita. This is one of the worst parts in the game in my opinion. You have to partake in some asteroids type of minigame, except this one sucks because you have this bird thing that drops red ninja stars that kill you in one hit and they move pretty fast. Okay, not too bad. It's a little annoying, but I can deal with this. So wait, Bentley controls like a fucking newborn deer on ice! Seriously, in a minigame where you have to be precise about your location to avoid being hit, why the fuck does Bentley control this badly? There is no damn excuse. Asteroids is one of the oldest games ever and it controls way better than this sack of shit. Fuck this minigame. Now Carmelita and Sly form a temporary alliance in order to take down Clockwork. Sly gets his cane stolen and in order to get it back he must go retrieve Carmelita's jetpack. Now, instead of having a normal level where Sly would just go through until he got the jetpack, you have to play as Carmelita and protect Sly. This is just like the minigames where you were Sly and you had to protect Murray and it is just stupid. I guess this one actually makes a little bit of sense because it shows Carmelita and Sly's alliance, however, that doesn't make it any good. Due to Carmelita's poor fucking shooting, the magnetronic support fields for the death ray have been destroyed and the whole level is falling apart and Sly has to race through the level to get the jetpack. This is the epitome of bad game design. It started off with me sucking at the level, which was totally my fault. However, once I knew what to do, I experienced a plethora of bad game design and bugs. First, this level requires a lot of jumping and grinding. However, since the level is sinking, you need to perform these actions perfectly because if you get to a certain part and you're a second too late, it becomes impossible to complete. You can argue that it makes more sense because, you know, the whole level is sinking, but don't you dare bring logic into this. I would rather have fun over logic. For example, I questioned the logic for many of the mini-games, but that was just because they were bad. If they were fun, then I could easily just give a shit why things were happening. This combines logic with no fun to a game that to begin with had no logic. Also, there were many points throughout this level where I correctly inputted the commands, however Sly never replicated what I wanted him to do, which is obviously annoying, especially when you have a limited amount of time to get through the level. There were also many points in this level where the horseshoe system, which allows you to come back from a death, has screwed me over immensely. One point comes to mind where I fell into the lava and the horseshoe system threw me back up and I got glitched into a wall, and no matter what I did, I was dead. Most other points, the horseshoe spawned me back into a situation where there was no possible way I could recover. Fuck this level.
I finally beat this. Fucking finally. It's boss time, bitches.
Fuck yes, finally. The whole game has built up to this. It's finally time to take out Clockwork, and I'm happy to report that for the most part, I enjoyed this boss fight. You start out in the air with the jetpack and you have to shoot the parts of Clockwork that Carmelita shoots. The first segment of this Clockwork boss is really easy, but also easy to get hit if you're a dumbass like me and forget to pay attention. However, for the most part, this should be a breezy walkthrough. It's Clockwork's next form that gets kind of annoying. For this part, Clockwork shoots little ring things you have to maneuver inside, or you get hit by electricity. This is extremely annoying because the hit registry for the rings is so wacky. There would be times where I would get hit when I was in the ring, and then times where I wouldn't get hit when I was clearly out of the ring. For this part, I just went YOLO ham status and hoped for the best. This part just got really annoying. In addition to maneuvering in the rings, you have to shoot at certain parts of Clockwork that, again, Carmelita shoots. That's relatively easy. It's dodging the rings that'll get you. And then you're on the last part of the battle. This is so easy. You just have to make your way by platforming over the Clockwork's body and beating the shit out of his head. One little issue that I experienced when I got to Clockwork's body, he twisted out his head and I glitched through and died. This sucks because if you die, you have to do the whole boss fight over from the first segment, which is pretty damn annoying. However, after you smack his head a few times, you finish the fight and thus the game. You're greeted with a few ending cutscenes, including Sly finally getting some of that sweet Carmelita tongue, and then a sudden cutscene appears and shit, Clockwork ain't dead. So that's Sly Cooper and then Thievius Raccoonus. It is by no means a perfect game, but does that mean it's bad? No. I know it seems like I really hate this game, seeing as though I shitted on it for a while, and I don't blame you for thinking so. However, something about this game, I actually enjoyed it. It's very unique, and I don't think there's another game I can compare it to. I appreciate the combination of stealth and platforming, and sure, there is an entire third level that is absolutely the epitome of awfulness and absolutely atrocious minigames, but the regular levels in this game really shine, and honestly, it was fun. The one-hit death mechanic makes you question your moves, and the lasers, guards, and spotlights make you more careful with your progression.
So, what do I rate this game? Well, I think before I tell you that, I should go over my rating system. And my rating system is as followed, from worst to best. A torture device. This is a game that can literally be used to torture people. FBI should think about picking any game that gets this rating up and making some people play it, get some information about organizations. I don't fucking know. Next up, punishable by death. That means this game is so bad that it should be dead. It shouldn't be used as a torture device. It's not quite that bad, but just shouldn't exist. Yeah. Next up, a citizen of Meh City. This game lives a meh life, has a meh job, a meh car, and an overall meh city. The game is just meh. Next up, we have the Death Star rating. And this is a game that is, for all intents and purposes, pretty good and pretty fun. However, it has one flaw, or two flaws, or few flaws that end up making it to where it's not the perfect sort of machine, or even a perfect planet, or a killing machine, because it can be destroyed by one bullet going into it. That's the Death Star, not necessarily the game. Yeah, you guys my drift. And the best rating a game can possibly get is the Sliced Bread Award. And this rating is, the saying, just best thing since sliced bread or whatever. Just fucking Google the saying if you don't know. But yeah. So I give Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus a Death Star in Meh City rating. It's not quite a normal citizen of Mess City, it's got a little bit more redeeming qualities than that. However, it isn't quite the big, large Death Star in the air. So we're just going to give it a Death Star in Mess City because, you know, it's pretty good. It has a few flaws, a little bit more than a few flaws, which knocks it down a little bit to Mess City's level, but it's not quite Mess City, but it's not quite Death Star. See what I'm saying? Made more sense in my head, but yeah, there you go. The reason it gets knocked down a few pegs is really because of level 3 and the horrible minigames. You know, even if the minigames weren't bad, I could give this a Death Star rating, but man, fucking minigames! Not to mention level 3, it's just... What was level 3? Next up is Sly 2. Let's see if this game can remedy my issues with Sly 1 while keeping everything I enjoyed. Well, I guess that's it. I'm done. Fucking done. Fucking never play that game again because of the minigames and level 3, but see you guys next time on the Omega Pro Show.